Jason Brock tore up the resume of a black woman, mocking her efforts to secure a job, unaware that she was the company's future CEO. That day would not only change his life, but also transform the entire organization. What happened next would astonish even the most seasoned observers. But let's start from the very beginning. Monday. The Starlight Corporation office was alive with its usual hustle and bustle. Employees hurried by with steaming coffee cups, loud conversations echoed through the hallways, and a small line of candidates formed near the reception desk. Among them stood Lucy Vanderson, a poised woman in her 50s dressed in a classic suit that downplayed her true status. She stood confidently yet calmly, carefully observing the surroundings. On the surface, Lucy appeared to be just another job seeker, but her eyes, filled with measured composure, told a different story. She held a meticulously prepared resume in her hands, a document that reflected her professionalism and attention to detail. Jason Brock, the head of HR, lounged lazily behind his desk in the corner. His expensive suit and gold watch were loud indicators of the status he enjoyed flaunting. Glancing at the queue of applicants, he sauntered forward and zeroed in on Lucy. "Next!" he barked, his tone devoid of any warmth. Lucy stepped forward and handed him her resume. Jason snatched it, skimmed a few lines, then looked at her with an expression dripping with skepticism. "Interesting," he said with a smirk. "Are you sure you're a good fit for a company like ours? We have very high standards. We're not running a charity here." Lucy said nothing, maintaining her polite smile, though inside her mind was already calculating her next move. She knew encounters like this were part of her new path, and every step needed to be deliberate. Jason wasn't finished. He seemed to relish his position of power. "Let's be honest," he continued, clearly enjoying himself. "Your experience? Well, it's not exactly impressive. Why don't you try looking for something simpler? This isn't really a place for, let's say, beginners." He chuckled under his breath. Without waiting for a response, he dramatically crumpled Lucy's resume and tossed it into the trash can. The room fell silent. Even the sound of typing at the reception desk ceased. Emma, the young receptionist, froze mid-call, staring in disbelief. "Good luck," Jason said dismissively, flashing a wink at Emma before sauntering off, leaving Lucy standing alone. "Are you okay?" Emma asked hesitantly, trying to process what had just happened. "I'm perfectly fine," Lucy replied calmly, adjusting her bag. "Thank you." With that, she turned and walked out of the office, leaving behind a stunned Emma. To Jason, the incident was already forgotten, as he returned to his desk, oblivious to the storm brewing. Emma, however, couldn't help but glance at the trash can, where the crumpled resume lay discarded. But for Lucy, this was only the first step. Tomorrow, she would return to this office, in a completely different capacity. The next morning began like any other at Starlight Corporation. Jason Brock strolled into the office with an expensive coffee in hand, yawning and glancing briefly at his subordinates. Everything felt routine until members of the board of directors, led by Chairman Wilson, arrived unexpectedly. Their presence immediately caused a stir. Such early visits from the leadership team were rare. "Jason," Wilson addressed him, "we have an important announcement. Please gather everyone in the conference room." Jason hurriedly tossed his coffee into the trash and rushed to comply, a nervous energy in his step. As the team gathered, he stood off to the side, surveying the room. Probably another round of layoffs or restructuring, he thought, absently adjusting his tie. When the room filled with murmurs, Wilson stepped to the podium and raised his hands to silence the crowd. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began with a proud smile, "we are thrilled to announce that our company has a new CEO. This is someone with an impressive track record and a clear vision for the future of Starlight Corporation. Please welcome Lucy Vanderson." The conference room doors opened, and Lucy entered with quiet confidence. Dressed in an elegant suit that radiated authority, she fixed her gaze on Jason as she walked to the front of the room. His face drained of color, and his mouth fell open in shock. The murmurs among the employees grew louder, but Lucy raised her hand to signal for silence. "Good morning," she began with a faint smile. "As some of you may have guessed, I was here yesterday. Unfortunately, My first visit left me with mixed impressions. The room grew tense, and all eyes turned to Jason, who now looked visibly uncomfortable. Lucy continued, her tone steady but firm. One of the qualities I value most in any organization is respect. Sadly, yesterday, I witnessed a lack of it firsthand. But let me assure you that Starlight Corporation's culture will change, starting today. Jason raised his hand, his voice unsteady. Excuse me, ma'am. There might have been a misunderstanding. Oh, there was no misunderstanding, Lucy interrupted, her voice sharp yet calm. Your actions yesterday spoke volumes. However, I believe every situation is an opportunity for growth. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Brock? The room held its collective breath. Emma, who had been silently observing from the back, suddenly spoke up. I can confirm what happened, she said, her voice steady despite her nervousness. I saw Jason tear up her resume and insult her. It was awful. A ripple of whispers spread through the room as Wilson's expression darkened. Thank you for your honesty, Emma, Lucy said warmly. Employees like you represent the true spirit of this company. Jason, now desperate, tried once more to defend himself. I didn't know. I didn't realize. And that's exactly the problem, Lucy interrupted again, her voice firm. It is your job to know and evaluate each candidate without prejudice. But you chose bias. Therefore, as of today, your position is vacant. The room erupted. Some employees clapped, others whispered among themselves, their eyes darting to Jason. He stood frozen, his face a mask of disbelief. Thank you all for your attention, Lucy concluded. Today marks the start of a new chapter. Together, we will make this company stronger. As the employees began to disperse, Lucy turned to Wilson. Now I'm ready to get to work. There's a lot to be done. Jason silently packed his belongings and left the office, the weight of his mistake heavy on his shoulders. After the meeting, the office buzzed with the news. Lucy, whose resume Jason had torn up, was now the CEO. Employees whispered, some nervously glancing at her office. Lucy immediately called a meeting with department heads. Our goal is not just profit, but respect for every employee, she said. What challenges are your teams facing? A heavy silence followed until Emma, representing junior staff, spoke. Junior employees often face a lack of respect. It's a daily issue. One manager, Richard, dismissed her concerns. Emma, no one's being disrespected. Roles are just different. Richard, Lucy replied firmly. That's exactly the problem. We'll start with an anonymous survey to identify areas of tension. Later, Lucy toured the office, speaking directly with employees. She stopped by Mabel, an elderly janitor. Thank you for your work, Lucy said warmly. Please don't hesitate to share any concerns or ideas. Word spread quickly about Lucy's inclusive approach. Meanwhile, senior managers like Frank voiced their dissatisfaction. If she keeps this up, we'll lose efficiency, he complained. Junior staff, however, felt encouraged. Lucy inspires us to work harder, Emma shared with colleagues. Sitting in her office, Lucy reflected on the mixed reactions. She knew the road ahead would be tough, but change had to start somewhere. Weeks into her reforms, Lucy's survey revealed systemic issues, bias against junior staff and ignored complaints. She acted swiftly. Starting today, Lucy announced at a meeting, we're introducing equal opportunities for all employees. Leadership training will be mandatory at every level. While many welcomed the changes, others, like Frank, resisted. Lucy, these ideals won't help the bottom line, he argued. Respect increases productivity, Lucy replied calmly. Let's review the results at the end of the quarter. The office atmosphere began to shift. Inspired by Lucy, Emma proposed automating reception processes, saving time and earning a promotion. However, Lucy soon discovered that Frank was undermining her efforts by pressuring staff into overtime and suppressing complaints. After receiving a message from Emma about employees' fear of reporting Frank, Lucy acted. She confronted him with the evidence. Your behavior goes against our values. You're no longer part of this company. Frank's departure sent a strong message. Lucy meant business. By the quarter's end, company performance improved by 15%, and employees felt empowered to share ideas. At an all-hands meeting, Lucy declared, "We've shown that respect and equality drive success. Thank you for being part of this transformation." As the office erupted in applause, Lucy knew her vision of a respectful, thriving workplace was becoming a reality.